All right, we're live.
We're live.
Excellent. Well, welcome back, Gregory and Paul Show.
Hey everyone, Paul.
I'm Gregory, and we always break down the latest startup, SaaS, AI, whatever the internet is debating this week. I know I always aim for a smart take, but I end up with plenty of dumb ones, and Paul always let me know when they're stupid.
It's true.
I like to think we'll hit on a few scorchers, perhaps. And of course, we always feature some memes at the end. We love memes. Way
Memes
too
are
much.
the best. Absolutely. So we're always streaming live on X and LinkedIn every Friday at noon Pacific time. Then we try to post the videos to YouTube. I think we are ready to start thinking about podcast platforms. What do you think?
You think so? I put it up on YouTube. I try to do it. I get it up on every Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one follows us over there. We get some views and stuff. It's
It's good
okay.
for the Internet Archive.
I think if we did, if we did like take the audio versions and put them onto podcast platforms,
Right.
we'd reach more people.
I think so too. I think we're almost there. Get
I
it
think
distributed
we're there.
onto Apple, Spotify, Google.
It's so funny. I thought about like, do we create like an intro or whatever? And then I was just like, I don't even know if I care. Like I like it with the cool graphics, and I think it brands it well. And then do people really need like a theme song and a bunch of stuff? Maybe. I don't know.
So to be completely honest, when I listen to podcasts, I just skip the first 5 minutes.
All the ads?
All the ads, all the intro stuff. I just skip right into the middle of it. Just give me the content.
I kind of do the same thing. I mean, I remember when I first heard the All In theme song, I thought it was kind of cute.
Catchy. Right.
Kind of cute, kind of corny.
Right.
But it was kind of cool. But then after I've heard it like 9,000 times,
skip right through it.
Skip right through it. Should we talk about events?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I'm halfway through the North American Vibe Your SaaS tour. I'm exhausted. Spoke in Bellevue. Spoke this week at Seattle Tech Week, the AI House. I'm calling it number one talk at Seattle Tech Week. I had over 550 people RSVP'd. Want to say something?
Wow. No, yeah, I was just going to ask how many people.
Yeah, 550 people RSVP'd. We had the packed house. We just stopped checking people in because like the Luma thing, you can't scan it on. I know people are having trouble scanning the codes, which seemed really basic. I was quite surprised that there was a bunch of people struggling to get Luma code, so I wasn't able to track exactly how many people came in. There's definitely like a full house, and maybe holds like 100 and something people.
Right.
But like mine was the only solo talk. Like if you look at the events too, most of them are panels or groups of people. I was one of the few solo presenters and still was able to have a great draw. So I'm super happy about that.
How's the space?
Whoa. Have you seen the photos? Dude, the AI house is part of the there's a venture firm that's backed originally by money from Paul Allen, like one of the founders of Microsoft.
Right.
Yeah, and he has a thing called the Allen Institute. And so the Allen Institute has a venture. They do a ton of stuff for Seattle. It's great, like medical research and hospitals, and like it's excellent. And I want to make sure to make that clear. Like it's amazing what that guy's done and what he's done with his money, right?
Right.
But they have a venture firm, and that's where the AI is. Because I was like, AI house, so it is Allen Institute, and so they do focus on AI, but they have a space on Pier 70 on the waterfront.
Wow.
In Seattle, and dude, it is beautiful. Like I go as far as say it's one of like the best spaces I've ever been in. Like, and I've been in a lot. Like it's amazing. The weather this time has been just fantastic for Seattle Tech Week. It's beautiful. We've had like 70 to 80 degree weather on the waterfront. It is astounding. Like it was great. So it was wonderful. I was very excited to have my talk there, and they were like really, really nice. And it went well. In fact, like I'm going to move to my co-working space to the AI house. I think
that's amazing.
Yeah,
very cool. I love that.
It was nice.
Yeah, I think every city needs that kind of space. I'm trying to look for a similar space in Toronto as we speak.
Yeah, you got to find me Toronto, right? Because I'm coming to Toronto.
Correct.
I met a few people at the event too who are from Vancouver and Toronto who are like doing. So we should, if you're listening to this and you're in the Toronto area and you want to partner with us to help get a draw during Elevate, we'd appreciate that. Yeah, and I want to take my same talk, and I'll do it again in Toronto.
I think it will be a massive hit. It will be beginning of October 6th.
Is that the right date? I had it.
Hold on. That's the date.
Okay, great. Yeah, so 6 is the night before Elevate starts.
Awesome. Yeah, it'll be the Monday evening. So hope to see people there.
Yeah, I got to book my flight. Awesome. And then I have one other event. You're coming to San Francisco.
Love it. Yes. That'll be end of October, I think.
Yeah, so put up the page because we've got some insane speakers, and the invites are fantastic. So this one is a mixer. It's invite only. So if you want to go, you can apply on the Luma.
Right.
But we've got speaker from Bain Capital, and we have this guy Gautam from Strata Capital, who's had a really long and successful career in venture capital. A couple other VCs, and there's a whole bunch of people I haven't even put up here yet that are coming. It's going to be excellent. I'm really excited about this. Yeah, and I can't wait to see you.
You threw it together so well. That's amazing.
Yeah, I've done a lot of events. Like I had my own events business at one point, and I know this space in San Francisco. And I was talking to my buddy who's co-hosting this, Arjun Dev Arora, who's been around in venture capital. He was at 500 Startups, which is 500 Global now. And I was like, hey, we should do something around TechCrunch Disrupt. This was a few months ago because they knew like if you book it early, we'll get a great space and we'll do something interesting. If you try to scramble and do these things at the last minute, it's a pain. So like I put down all my own money on this and rented out a space and had the confidence like we would pull it off. We would find speakers, maybe get some sponsors to help. But there's a moment where I'm like about to do this. And my wife's like, are you sure you're going to I was like, yeah, I got to do this. I have to do something for Disrupt. I want to get back in events. Like, I think it's really important that events are back,
I think so.
Yeah.
It's just so much easier to make connections, I think, through events.
Yeah. And like if you in marketing, like to plan a great event, it takes time and you have to do it well in advance. And so,
yeah, I'm learning all the details right now.
We'll have fun we'll have fun in Toronto. I'm sure we'll find some people. I know it was like kind of last minute that we planned it relative to this, but I'm excited to come and hang out. I've never been to Toronto.
That's wild.
So I was looking forward to go.
Usually you come this way to visit New York, I suppose.
Well, I've been to Vancouver many times with like family there. And then I've been to Montreal a bunch, like as a kid when I was very young. I lived in Vermont. And so we went to Montreal all the time. And I love Montreal. I've been there many times. But I just never went to Toronto. I didn't know a lot of people there. And it's not really on the way to anywhere. So I hadn't been. So I'm excited to check it out.
That's true. Right. Awesome. Would be amazing to see you here beginning of October.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be fun. You and I have only met like once in person, right? So
yeah, that's right. That's right. Shall we get into the nerdy news of the week?
Let's do it.
Okay. I'll kick us off. It is officially August. It's crazy. Most of the year has been gone, or majority of the year. This means that GPT5 launch is right around the corner. There has already been lots of rumor, lots of behind the scenes benchmarks, leaks even, because this is now one of the biggest events of the year. Very similar to how Apple was before people kind of stopped caring. The rumor with GPT-5 is that it's going to be a massive upgrade over GPT-4, GPT 3.5. I feel like it's one of the last models we either see if this doubling of capacity or the capability of GPT can still hold the trend line. So we're super excited to see this.
Oh, do they have it in the official OpenAI Twitter? Oh, is it? Did they say OpenAI GPT-5 is coming out? Like, has Sam acknowledged it? I thought I just saw it.
Yeah. So Sam says GPT-5 will be released August.
But they didn't give a date, right?
Of course not. Yeah. Of course.
Of course. You know what, it reminds me exactly of like when Apple used to release the iOS releases around WWDC, and it was a big thing.
Yeah.
And
or iPhone launches, right? Like, oh, it's going to be the next device. It's going to be a new iPhone. Is it going to be a new Mac, iPad?
Well, what do you think is going to be the impact of startups, right? So like there's two scenarios, which is like the technology. So, and a lot of people talk about this lately, how like the upgrade to an LLM will improve your product that's built on top of it. Like, so there's that scenario. There's the other scenario, which is like, does the new GPT-5 kill some startups? Like, are there things that people are doing that maybe GPT-5 will do that maybe render your startup obsolete? And that's what used to happen with like the iPhone and the iOS release.
Yeah. So it still is. That's exactly what will happen, right? So a lot of the GPT wrappers or foundational model wrappers is just a bunch of fancy prompts sitting on top of the foundational model. So if that capability gets built into the foundational model, then all of these companies collapse.
Are there any ones you think are at risk?
Most likely anyone that is doing image generation, let's say, right, with fancy prompts.
Do you think any of the things like Runway ML or some of the other image models are at risk too?
We don't know. I don't know. I think as these like models gets bigger and bigger, the token context window gets bigger. Some of the adjacent things goes away as well. So there's a lot of companies that kind of help you work with the limited token context window. With the GPT-5, that goes up to like 1 million tokens. 1 million tokens is a lot. That it's essentially any kind of code base that has 1 million words in it. That's a huge code base. That means like you don't need any adjacent caching system to get the GPT to essentially just work with your entire code base. So that could potentially be a direct competitor to Claude. I think Cursor is already starting to tease that they will use GPT-5 as like the default model instead of Claude. So all these companies are starting to compete with each other around the same things, right? Like lines are blurring. GPT-5 is saying, why should Claude be the de facto model for developers? We should have a piece of that too.
Yeah, I think what I don't know is like, does the one model to solve them all prevail, or are there like going to be hyper niche targeted approaches, models, software? I mean, I was thinking about this the other day because like, so I wrote that post about how I hated ChatGPT now. I thought the writing sucked.
Right.
I wouldn't hire it to even write some copy to promote a 50% off cinnamon rolls campaign for a gas station because it was just so tasteless in terms of like its capabilities when it comes to writing. And I'm basically been using Claude for as like a writing assistant.
Yeah.
So for me, that means that like there's not going to be a universal model, is what I think. And so I base my experience is like some models will be better at some things. And I was like blabbering about this at breakfast or something, and my wife's like, "Yeah, just kind of like people." And I was like, "Yeah, I think that's actually like a really good analog. That like if these models are like this incredible and they're able to like
do everything,
super intelligent, it still requires specialization because if the analog is the human brain, people are different and people have specializations and people function differently. Like, so even if you think of human intelligence is super intelligence, perhaps in this like analogy, all
Right.
brains are different, and all people have different talents and are good at different things. And like, why
Right.
wouldn't that be how AI plays out?
AI plays out. Yeah, so like with the super intelligence, because Mark is also going towards the super intelligence.
Right.
I think it's just marketing. I mean, you can't say we're spending $10 billion or $60 billion on a intelligence that can only do this. They have to say that this is a super intelligence. It's capable of doing everything. This is why we're investing hundreds of billions of dollars into it.
Yeah, of course. And I think people maybe like the core foundation, they'll build stuff on top of it still. That all makes sense. I don't know if there'll be like one model that does everything. I think that's high. I think it's unlikely.
It's unlikely.
Yeah, that is my take. I started like to really think about this. I was like, look at the differences in people and capabilities, right? You've got Einstein, you've got
Right.
other people who are talented in different ways. It makes me think that that's how AI will play out. That like when you get down to like the specifics of doing certain very difficult things, you'll need something that just runs a certain way.
Yeah, they're
And
going to
so,
have quirks, personality and quirks. If we
yeah,
truly get to super intelligence, different models will respond differently to and have different personalities.
yeah, that's exactly what I think. Yeah,
That's going to be. I think at that state, right? Like the other part of all of this, which most people haven't thought about, is nation state. I forgot the term now, but it's basically foundational models that's owned by nation states.
yeah, sovereign AI.
Sovereign AI. That's it.
Yeah,
So I think at that level, when we truly reach super intelligence, these things are going to be fine-tuned to either nation states or entire cultures, I would say.
yeah, that's a whole other discussion, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, it's complicated. I think, sovereign AI. I think ultimately, someone was writing about this the other day. I think ultimately what will happen is that English will be the dominant language because there's just so much more available to train on.
Oh,
And so,
I would not agree with that.
yeah, you don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
There was this interesting debate the other day where someone was talking about that, like, because like Chinese, there's a lot of content too, right? Maybe
There's
seconds,
there's
like
tons
second.
of Chinese content. You can Chinese is a very densely information packed language.
Correct.
English is not. English is extremely verbose. So on that front, it just doesn't make sense to for the future of mankind to
Well, there's
only
clearly
speak
there's clearly
English.
going to be two like spheres, right? And because like the nature of like those languages in particular makes them very difficult to like create tools that
Right.
work across both. Where like it's relatively easy to take English and then work with like a European language like French or something, right? Like or German. They're
Right.
not that different. They're not as different as Chinese.
It's closer. I mean,
Yeah.
like with universal interpreters, I think all of that difference will go away.
You think so? I
I
don't
think
know.
so.
It'll be interesting. That's a whole different discussion. Okay, we should move on. We have a lot of stuff to talk
Well,
about today. We can
exactly.
hold that one for a different time. We can debate it.
We'll
All right.
we'll run through a couple things. IPOs are back. I think it was just yesterday that Figma IPO'd. What was their target open? I think they IPO'd at $200.
Dude, it was huge, right? They were so I wrote up a whole bunch of stuff about this recently. They were valued at 19 billion for the Adobe acquisition. I think they went public at 20 billion, so $33 a share, but it like went to 100 something dollars a share yesterday. So they crossed
Yeah.
like $60 billion in valuation. Yeah, monster.
Right. Their target price was, I think their IPO price was $30. Their target price was maybe like $90. They blew
Yeah.
past that. At one point, it was at $200 and closed at 115. So they left a
Yeah.
ton of money on the table, but IPOs are back. That is
Yeah,
huge.
that's crazy.
So hopefully this means that tech IPOs are back. Lots of cash are getting returned back to the investors, right, within the next 6 months. And all of that cash will be redeployed into hopefully C-stage startups, and the cycle begins again. Reduce.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, there's a couple of points I want to make here, and so you touched on it. That the reason that IPOs matter is because that is how money gets recycled back into the ecosystem.
Right.
And I found a chart recently that really showed the let's call it IPO drought that's occurring. So there's a lot of charts out there. It's hard to find, or I couldn't find data that was good at showing this. So I finally found a chart that showed number of IPOs. And that was the one where if you look back over a long period of time, like 5 to 7 years, you can see even in like 2019, there are a lot more IPOs happening than have happened since, let's call it the crash of like 22 with the whole Silicon Valley Bank failure, I guess is the right term, right? Ever since then, like there's been nothing. There's been very few tech IPOs. And now, yeah, but that's a different, it's like number of, I can find it. It's wild because like, you haven't had any of these IPOs, and that's what made the fundraising environment so difficult because for people that don't understand the mechanics of venture capital, the venture firms get money from limited partners who are like banks and institutions and rich people,
Family
all kinds of
offices.
crazy people and they give money to venture capital firms.
Right.
And they don't want to give money to venture capital firms, so they get some of their money back. And so they put all this money in there and they're like sitting on these things. And so IPOs happening, particularly like blockbuster IPOs like this, means that LPs, the people who are the investors in the VC funds and who control the like money really at the highest levels, will see returns. They'll see liquidity. They'll see cash, not just like a balance sheet or some number on a system
table
somewhere.
Yeah.
And then they'll put it back into the startup environment. So it should make fundraising for startups, I don't want to say easier, but more plentiful and less challenging than it's been. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And hopefully it creates an ecosystem out of Figma alumni, right? The same way that like
right, you've got all kinds of VPs and executives there who have like huge amounts of money now and can go back and start a startup. Yeah, it's very cool. It's great.
Right.
If the subsystem works.
It's very cool, right? It's like Figma has been super fast. I think they've been around for a long time, but not long ago, maybe only 5 or 6 years ago, they were like a very normal Series A startup. So if you got in 5 years ago at like Series A, at like a very normal $100 million valuation, you would have 100x your equity.
Totally.
So that's very cool.
So, dude, I had one other really interesting tidbit about Figma. So the CEO, Dylan Field, he is a dropout of Brown University and Teal fellow.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's cool. Like I think there's been a lot of skepticism around Peter Teal in general.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. Okay.
And Peter Thiel's like Teal Fellowship. There's a lot of people who are like, is this a good thing? And like, is there any proven success? So I think like it's hard to argue with the fact that the founder of Figma now has a blockbuster IPO, one of the biggest we've seen in a long time. He's a Teal fellow who dropped out of Brown, and the idea that there's an alternative path to the normal route, I think it's cool. I'm a huge advocate for it. I think it's great. In fact, like I was talking with someone today about this and saying that because they were like, oh, the Teal Fellowship is for people to drop out of college. And it's technically not true. That Teal Fellowship actually says like you can forego college or drop out, and it's not available to anybody who has graduated.
Interesting. So they want, right, right. I really, so it's very interesting because education is super important, especially with how the post-secondary education has been trending in the US. I mean, it's not as of a big issue in Canada, I wouldn't say, um, because all the universities are public, anyways. Um, but it is very cool. These billionaires are creating education systems. I know Jordan Peterson has a similar program where he's
Oh,
trying.
does he? Yeah. I mean, Peter Teal, I think, continues to be right about a lot of things. I think like he got a lot of heat for a lot of things.
Yeah,
He got a lot of heat in particular for like the college bubble and like why does this guy hate college so much? And I just think he was early. I think we're
I
experiencing
think
the
he's
birth of
early.
the college bubble now. That like there's all these people who got these degrees that are not worth the money they paid for them. Like regardless of like what you think of the degrees, you can quantify them and you can measure them and you can
Right,
determine and predict how much
right,
money they're worth in terms of like earnings.
right,
And it's irresponsible, in my opinion, to
right.
charge people money for degrees that that university knows
Yeah,
cannot be earned back. Like
yeah,
it should be illegal. Like you can't sell someone this and then say like, hey, you're never going to earn it back. Like they would fire an advertising agency if like, don't worry, it's going to cost you so much to run these ads. You'll never, ever earn back the amount of money you spent on it ever. Like that is not the promise of marketing and advertising.
it's not the promise. Pretty much anything. So like
Right? Like what product is there? Yeah.
it's really, it is like, it's one of those things that you look back and think about what he said about education post secondary. You're like, of course that makes sense, right? But like while you're in the middle of it, so for example, when I graduated high school, I had a really sit down moment with my parents to say, look, I have options. Should I go to university or should I just do something else? And in the Chinese household, university and post-secondary education is not an option. It's kind of like a must. So like
Mandatory.
it's mandatory, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. In lots of cultures, that's kind of like the thing as well, right? Like a lot of Asian cultures. So like I then the decision becomes like, okay, what university program would actually make sense? You're spending lots of money to go to universities. What should you study? So like at least my parents were sensible enough to be like, oh, look, if you're going to these kind of studies like hardcore science research, not gonna essentially get any kind of return. So going to like the tech, going to the engineering, at least those skills will be useful, and you'll get some kind of fair compensation afterwards. So like I think a generation of people in my age back like 10-15 years ago has already started to understand and see the pattern that going to universities is just like a game that you have to play.
Yeah. I mean,
And the
for me,
game
it's
has,
about the price, right? It's like, what do you pay for it? So like, there's sciences you can go into that aren't very
yeah,
good. I mean, Peter Thiel himself said, right? Like, why would you go into nuclear engineering? Like, you're not going to make a lot of money with it, right? So they're
right.
all. It's just a matter of like the prices are totally out of whack in terms of like what it costs to go to college relative to what you can earn. That's the issue. It's not that. And like when I was younger, people started
Yeah,
getting what I would call like a silly degree. But if you didn't overpay for it, I don't think that's a bad thing. And like you want to study English or something like that, I still would be an advocate for that. But I just don't think you should overpay for it. Like if it's low cost and like you can
correct.
at least invest in some education and like having English skills is great. I think there's a lot of like ways that you can use those, and I think it's really successful. It's just you don't want to massively overpay for that. I think that's more the issue is the cost, right? It's not like getting these like useless degrees or whatever is bad.
100% agree there. The only thing I'll add here is I think his prophecy. So I think his prophecy has been fulfilled.
Oh yeah.
And what happens immediately after is that a new prophecy will start and we'll probably go back full cycle And like those people with English degrees in 20, 30 years will be like the most thought after. That's my
The pendulum always swings, right? Well, so anyway, for
pendulum always
me,
swings.
I think it's very cool that the Teal Fellowship has been proven to be a success, in my opinion. Like
Correct.
one person that went through the program, I don't think a lot of people go into it, took company public. Company is one of the biggest IPOs ever. Like huge
The
success.
most success. Yeah, huge
Yeah.
success.
Amazing.
Lends a
All right,
lot
so
of
we should move on. We got tons of stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll speed through a couple of them. New models, introduction of 11 Labs V3 Alpha, which is a very
I'm gonna
impressive
share this one.
text-to-speech
There we go.
text-to-speech model, which is so the most impressive part is, text-to-speech AI has never been super human-like. This is the first time I'm looking at this. I'm like, whoa, they sound like normal humans.
It's a text-to-speech model. How is it better than like some of those deepfakes are pretty good.
Yes. So the specific is intonation, laughter. So this model can actually introduce conversational features like pauses, laughter, awkwardness, hiccups into a normal conversation. So like,
and it supports more than other languages. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like foreign languages. Yeah.
Foreign languages included. So like we're moving very, very fast towards conversational naturally in a way that you can hold a whole entire conversation with AI.
Dude, deepfakes just get better and better. Like there's some this week that were just hilarious. I was like just dying laughing listening to them.
That's going to be a problem for the entire foreseeable. So like on that front, I think it's Netherlands. Just signed into a law where all of your likeliness, so your face, your name, is now part of IP. It's an IP that you own. So if anyone defakes you can sue them, hold them to criminal.
Hey, all I'll say is like if there's anything the Europeans are good at, it's regulatory innovation.
Regulatory, correct. So that is actually super cool, right? What that means is you can now start a social network in Netherlands with these kind of protections baked in, right? So I actually do think that's an opportunity for someone to start a truly privacy first social media network in Netherlands.
I don't know. Here, okay, we got another one. This one's cool. Yeah, this is good. This is funny. I like this one.
Oh yeah, this guy. Okay, so there's been lots of chatter on X. So this guy started icon.com, which is a kind of like an AI first image ad maker, AI ad maker. Yeah, it's the famous insanely looking landing page. So he raised a bunch of money from multiple VC firms, and he tweeted out that he is changing the company to a agency. So lots of people are essentially talking about this, right? Like, why would you raise a bunch of money, launch a product, and then flip to a service model?
It's like an admission that it doesn't work. That like he had like an AI ad generator, and now he's like, hey, by the way, we have a bunch of designers and we charge $1,000 a month to make banner ads for you.
Correct. Exactly. I think this is the exact problem with a lot of AI promises these days, is that it works only if you know exactly what you're doing. Most people don't have the time to learn it. So now you have to offer it as a service instead.
Well, I think this one doesn't even work. That's my guess, is that like, and I've seen, we talked about this earlier, is like, I've seen tons of like image ad generation tools over the years, and they're all struggle. The challenge is it seems simple, but it ends up being complicated. There's just so many formats. There's so many things happening. I've never seen it work perfectly to auto generate them. And I've seen so many people try to do it. And I remember when some of these tools came out, and there's all these examples, and then lots of people were like, the demo was very impressive, but there were a lot of people who were like, dude, I can't get anything like the results that I can see in all of these examples.
Yeah.
And I don't see any of those anymore where like the ad's perfect and it's like,
Yeah.
fire your creative team. It reminds me of just like what happened with content a year and a half ago. And I keep joking that like, I remember the whole like fire your content team. And I literally have people sending me like a ChatGPT thing saying like, hey, I wrote to the ChatGPT, can you fix it? And they will pay me to do that. So like, that's where these guys headed. It's like, hey, we have this ad generator. Oh, guess what? We have all these crappy looking ads. Can you fix them? And then they have to get a real designer to do it. I think the new joke is that someone using AI will create a crappy poorly executed idea or concept, and they will hire you and give you a job. So that's where the AI job universe is.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So like ink software, it's exactly the same thing. Like,
let's go on to this. There's one more I wanted to share. This was kind of fun here. Like, I love how so what was this company? Case Flood. That like the launch video now is the way that everyone is introducing their products, their startups. It's quite fun. I think it's very different than like just a few years ago where it was all about writing a press release, hiring an agency, and getting on TechCrunch and maybe getting on a few other publications. Like now it's 100% like direct from the founder. And everyone creates like a fun launch video. This one was nice. It's like, it's nothing like Cluely, right? Where they're really aiming for some kind of rage bait sensationalism, but like they did a great job, I think, at like for this one, introducing a product that's for law firms, right? Like how outrageous do you want to be if you're trying to
right? If you're
you want to engage in a lawsuit or anything. So I thought this was cool.
Very cool. Yeah, I enjoy it. Should we talk about?
Yeah. Let me share this one too, because this was like this is interesting.
I think this is the one that we wanted to talk the most on.
Yeah. I think. Do you remember Om Malik? Were you a follower of Giga Om, and do you remember all that stuff?
I do. You want to explain it for people you want to share your screen again? I think
I'm doing it. Is it coming up? It seems like it takes a few minutes.
If not, I can share.
Did that go? No.
Okay, I'll share.
There's some lag. Yeah. So Giga Om was a there you go. You got it. Was a popular blog, maybe in the like 2010s, written by a guy, Om Malik. Really smart, really interesting guy, kind of a competitor to like TechCrunch, those types of like tech blogs.
Right.
And he became a venture capitalist, but he continues to write really great thought pieces. And he did this thing on Mark Zuckerberg's new AI memo, which I thought was like really insightful. This part's cool here, where he talks about the different like memos that Zuckerberg has released during like different kind of technology inflection points, right? Going all the way back to the 2012 mobile transition crisis. You and I were talking about that with Facebook made a really big investment in HTML5. They had this HTML5 wrapped app that just was not working.
They spent a ton of time down that road, ton of time.
Yeah, I think he said directly they wasted 2 years. So I remember that was when I was working in a startup where we had a mobile product, and Facebook was just not in the marketplace, like competing with us. And so the market was really strong until Facebook entered selling app downloads and selling advertising on mobile. They were not able to drive downloads of mobile apps. They were just way too focused on the mobile web and HTML5, right. And they missed a big opportunity. People probably don't remember, like, that was super critical because it was right when Facebook had gone public and the stock was like not very exciting. I don't think people remember this. Like the IPO was not a blockbuster like Figma.
Yeah.
It kind of was flat. There was a whole bunch of people. I literally was invited to like a Facebook launch IPO party in San Francisco, and people were like, you got a piece of paper, you're supposed to write down like what number you thought it would open at. And everybody was wrong. Everybody had some insane number, like $100, $200 a share, $500 a share. And then it opened at like 40 and it went to like 42 or something. Like it was just kind of a non-event. And that was what really lit the fire under Zuckerberg to go into mobile, because he saw like that was where they were like losing out. They just weren't participating in the mobile app ecosystem, and they were still really internally married to the web, and everything at that moment was transitioning into apps. And once they like figure that out, like the rest is history in terms of like Facebook's monetization. But there was a moment where like they kind of struggled.
That's actually
so I don't think that's
super interesting.
Go ahead.
It's like they still caught the mobile wave, even though a lot of people wrote them off.
They crushed it. I mean, they went full on into that and just completely owned the app download space and dominate in that. And they've done a very good job. And I'm sure that, I don't know the numbers today, but my guess is like a high percentage, 80% of all their usage. Instagram, it's all on mobile apps, and it's mostly on the iPhone where the monetization is
100%.
This is getting a little ad geeky, but like iPhone users are just worth significantly more than Android users. And the ones in California or in like New York or like certain regions are just, that's where the bulk of the money actually comes from. Like it's amazing when you look at the numbers. Like if you add up all the other users, they're actually not very valuable, but it's like there's certain cohorts that are just like massively valuable for them, and Facebook has them all.
It's crazy. It's crazy how they've came by. Do you want to summarize like what his new 2025 memo says?
Yeah, where's that one line? You found exactly the same line that I did in here.
Right. This one, right?
Yeah, where like he was saying like that, like Zuckerberg has always been here it is, yeah. So he always has been able to identify the like bet the farm behavioral shift and execute on it in a way that like no one else has, perhaps maybe only like Steve Jobs or a few other people consistently over time, again and again, like have made like the right decision. And it's really incredible. And it's a testament to like Zuckerberg's just ambition, willingness to like embrace hardship and change. Like there's a lot of values and qualities, I think, that make Zuckerberg fantastic at this. Like he's able to just make that critical decision. It's just like the one we described too. After a lot of challenges, right? They spent a lot of effort and energy on this mobile web stuff and it didn't work. And they saw the whole thing was moving and they did it. And a lot of companies like just don't do that for a variety of reasons.
A lot of companies die.
But Zuckerberg is good at it.
100%, right? Like HTML5, he spent years chasing down that path. And he admits that it's one of the biggest mistakes that Facebook made. So
he maybe even like overcorrects in this, like with the whole metaverse stuff. They even like renamed the company on this like trend that never really or hasn't yet emerged as in terms of like a transition to a new paradigm for computing. I don't think he's wrong that there will be one. I don't think it's the metaverse.
So no, I 100% agree there, right? So like we talked about this before, but I Meta is basically doing what I think Apple should be doing. He is going hard on personalized super intelligence. I think the problem with Meta is that he lacks a delivery vehicle. Like where would you deliver the super intelligence? You have no hardware. Apple has all the hardware, well, about half of the hardware in the world. And they are well positioned to deliver this super intelligence, but they're not actively making noise in that front. I think they're super smart. Apple's super smart. They're watching, they're learning, they're seeing how Meta is going to screw up, and they will learn from everyone's mistakes.
Right. So so a couple of things there, like, I mean, I think at this point it's not a secret that Zuckerberg is well aware of the fact that like his control over like the most popular apps in the world is still ultimately constrained by the device manufacturers.
Yeah.
Either Apple, Android, Samsung,
Yeah.
whoever it is, right? That like, and there's no way around it. That they control the final delivery layer when it comes to the user, and they still have to like work around that. And there's like tension and conflict at times between those two entities because there's just competing goals.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's why he's like trying to invest in the metaverse or find some other device. They've had a lot of devices, right? They had that desktop unit. They've done all kinds of things to just experiment and try to find a way to have a direct device connection to the end user. It's interesting that like I mean, as far as I know, there's nothing public about them trying to do something new. Right. Like it's very public that ChatGPT and Johnny Ive are going to create some kind of AI pen, voice communicator, whatever it is. You don't hear much about that from Facebook, given all their desire to like move into that. It's quite actually surprising to me. They might still be working on something, and they've just been very good at keeping it under wraps.
So
yeah, I don't know.
What do you think the partnership between Johnny Ive and OpenAI will be able to dethrone Apple's hardware dominance?
Well, after their like love letter video, how could I not love what's going on between those two guys? Like that was just fantastic, right? What kind of San Francisco were they walking through? Like I lived there for 10 years. I think it's gonna be a success. I think they're gonna do something that'll work. I think that there's enough examples. So in my kind of like worldview, these kind of hardware transitions, there always has to be a couple of notable failures of devices or people who show the way, right? And so I think you had that in mobile. There were all kinds of people that created these very visionary pieces of hardware that were like it almost is like evolution, right? They're like these beasts that are like these weird hybrids that emerge and then die, and they're not quite the right, like all the different types of humans or something, right? They all kind of die off because they just don't have what it takes to really succeed. I remember a company called Danger that created this thing called the Sidekick. That was this hybrid, kind of like one of the first kind of internet connected devices. And there were a bunch of people that came out with stuff like that showed the way, showed the promise. And then, I think Jobs nailed it with the 2-touch screen. That was the innovation that needed to happen. And he really like was able to take that and run with it.
So he made it cool.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like the smart devices for a really long time, it's like the BlackBerry. It was for business purposes only.
They were dorky.
And the iPhone was the first one that made it cool. All the kids wanted one.
Well, yeah. Actually, it's funny you brought that up. I haven't thought about that. I remember like that was the stereotype of like the smartphone user was the guy with like the Batman utility belt with like just
exactly
tons of gadgets.
Tons of gadgets.
They were like super not cool.
Uses BBM. That was the thing back then.
Even the Bluetooth headset. You remember that?
The
it was like it was only some douche online at the bagel shop who's like talking on. You're like, dude,
right?
Now everyone wears these things. But the point I'm trying to make is that the evolution of what I think Johnny and Sam Altman are working on fits nicely with this whole way that we saw the mobile device world play out. You've had the humane AI pin, and you had that Rabbit. Was it Rabbit AI? Yeah. What was the thing? It was just called the Rabbit. Like a lot of people like roasted them on social media, and I guess to some degree they deserved it. But I thought both of them were very cool. I think they're cool in the sense that like they showed where it's going. They were kind of like AI driven, voice conversational UI types of devices. They had a lot of imperfections and challenges, but my best guess is like based on the like, I would say something like success and failure of those types of things. Johnny and Sam, I'm sure, have learned from that, and I think they will come out with something that I would call it a success. I don't know what that means in terms of success, but I think they'll come out with something that finds an audience and gains adoption and shows that like, look, there is a future where it's beyond the smartphone. When I don't think that like the Meta glasses or the Apple Vision Pro or any device has come out that's shown that, look, there is this way that people are going to actually use these types of things, like from Google Glass, all those things are, like, in my opinion, they never were popular beyond the type of people who would go to some lab in Palo Alto and think that was like a fun way to spend a sunny afternoon. Even I'd rather be riding a bicycle for the most part. But I think they'll come out with something that, like, regular people are going to be like, wow, I got this little thing that I just carry around and I talk to it. And like, the technology is progressing too, where it'll do more than just like, you know, like your Apple Watch tracks your heart rate and has some basic stuff and knows your location. These things are going to like listen to what you say, and they're going to like over time learn about your personality, and they're going to understand your like mood, and they're going to do like interesting things.
So you think it's going to fully replace the phone? That's your prediction. So like, I don't know if did this happen in the States, or does it still happen where like you can get a phone for free if you sign up to a mobile contract? Is that still a thing?
Ooh, it's a good question.
Because back in the days, that's how
I'm sure there's cheap ones. I think the iPhone is too expensive now
for the carriers to give it away.
Yeah, I don't think they're subsidizing them in the same way anymore. I'm sure on the Android side, there's plenty of people that you get a free Android phone.
But remember, like back in the days when iPhone first launched, that's how you got an iPhone, right? Like very few people outright paid like $1,500 for an iPhone. So for the longest time, you signed contracts for like 2-year contracts or 3-year contracts, or at least that's how it worked in Canada. And a lot of like, that's how I think the mass adoption of these smartphones happened, is the carriers essentially subsidized a lot of the iPhones and got people onto the subscription.
So is your question like, will it be a third device, or do you think it'll?
Well, right. I'm thinking about the mass adoption here, right? Like if these things launch, what they will launch at a price point, let's say like $1,000, right? But for the mass to adopt this, it's going to be subsidized by somebody. If it needs,
I see.
If it needs to be internet connected, then it's going for all of these cellular providers, it's going to be a way for them to get you into a subscription.
Yeah. So okay, that's a great point. I think like to tie it all together, most people can only afford a phone,
right?
And they're expensive for the average person. And so like if this new thing rolls out, like how does this fit into the consumer marketplace? You know, so great, excellent. I think that's like maybe the most critical question with anyone who's trying to work on these strategies is like, how does that play out? So I think with the OpenAI, chat thing will be like, it'll be for affluent people and they'll have both. Like, I think that's where it starts. And if that was my strategy, I would not make it like compete head to head with the iPhone. Like I would create features and I would do things to it that showed how it's an interesting thing to have on top of an iPhone. Like it has to have new features. It has to do something different to differentiate it. And then over time, I would like start to incorporate more features from the iPhone into
so it. If that's the case, then I think we're like 2-3 generations out from this being an iPhone level disruption. So like,
I think you're well, we'll see what happens. Like it depends on what disruption means, right? Like I think Google is being disrupted now, right? But if you look at the numbers, they're still doing quite well. It's just nerds like us are like, oh my God, Google's dead, right? But the average person is like, I don't know, I'm still getting 10 blue links and like buying Google ads, right? So I think if a new device can come out and command, like I said, mind share beyond people that want to hang out in a AI human computer interaction lab, which is a big deal. It's got to go beyond those people. If they could do that and it shows that there's promise, I think, in my opinion, that would be my definition of like, or on the way to disrupt. Disruption. That means that disruption is possible. And I think that like none of these devices have shown that yet. Google Glass was not cool. Rabbit AR was kind of a joke. I thought the human AI pen was kind of fun, and I was kind of excited. I kind of wanted to get one, and then once the Marcus Brownlee review came out, I was like, okay, I'm not going to get one. It sounds a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. So I did not get it. But if something comes out that like, if it beats the Humane AI pen, like the AI pen was too heavy, had some like weird hardware issues. I think if they can just overcome that stuff, and then I'm happy to go on record say like the Humane AI pen was too focused on UI. So that laser pointer innovation is cool, but I don't think practical or useful. And I think they wasted a lot of cycles building out features that like ultimately are not useful from what I could tell for consumers. Right. So if I was Johnny, who is, I'm sure, an expert on all that stuff, I would not include the laser pointer thing. It's just no going to be a little, I've seen some, there's no, yeah, no, like, did you ever see the guy using it? Like he shoots on his hand and he's like trying to use the UI. And it takes like 25 minutes to do anything basic at all. I'm like, this is not practical. Like, I don't know who would use this thing. So if I was Johnny, it's just going to be a little circular thing you carry around or something. And it's completely passive. It just kind of like listens,
it just works.
And it does stuff. I've always been a fan of like the idea of like passive UI.
So it goes away when you don't need it.
Or it just kind of happens in the background. I guess like my vision of like what I want in terms of agents, and this has been around for a long time, is that, at least from my perspective, is that like these things that just work in the background just do things for me. And so there were people that were creating like passive social networking devices or apps that would fit on your phone or work on your phone, and you'd walk into a room and it would like passively social network with everybody. People were like freaked out about the privacy implications of it, which I'm laughing because like it wouldn't bother me at all. Like I'd be like, great, go for it. Like I sign up for every service and I use all kinds of things. And like, I'm not really too concerned about people passively finding my LinkedIn profile or something. But for other people, it's an issue. And that was what killed a lot of those things. But I still think the idea is excellent. And the idea that like agents and things that just work passively on my behalf and that I set up with like a set of parameters and just does things is fantastic. And I'd love a device that just like listens to what I'm saying. I love it where I want an AI agent that I don't have to set up. That's what I want.
It just works.
I don't want to spend any effort. I want to just, it just says like, Gregory, you've been talking a lot about going to Montreal to watch pro cycling in September, which I'm doing. Would you like me to book that flight for you? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Can you find those flights for me? Like, I just wanted to know. I don't want to have to do the work.
Come to you with decision points, and then do
right. So if it's listening to everything you say all the time, theoretically this is possible. And that over time it would get quite good at like, you typically want this. Like you've been talking about being a vegetarian. Like, would you like
that? Sounds like a dream for Amazon.
I think it'd be cool. Like I don't know. I see the upside to it. I can see how other people are. It's maybe their nightmare or something, but it would have to be good at it. And I think that like we have
it has to be good
AI, we have enough data. Like I think we could get to a place where there's some categories where it would be good at doing those.
Agreed. Shall we get to the memes?
Yeah, let's do it.
Real time. This week, you wanna talk about this one?
Sure. Let's pop it up. What do we have? I was watching some of the I mean, like I don't even know what to say about this. Like
I think this guy got it right.
Yeah, it was kind of so there's a lot of noise on the internet about this. And the only comment I will make is that I think she looks kind of hot.
I agree.
That was my feedback. I was like, I don't know why there's a big controversy. Like, I think she's beautiful. I think it's great. And like, I think jeans are cool. Like, it was funny how like this went wild. And it just looks like an advertisement I would have worked on in 2004, and no one would have like said anything.
I 100% agree. I think for the last 10, 15 years, we've just gone down this path, and then now we're full force back in the other direction. And like, if you really think about it, this is not even that controversial. It's not.
That's my joke, right? It's like, oh, great, that's a hot chick in an ad. Like, excellent. Like, let's sell some
which is kind of like funny because like we've been barreling down this one direction, but because it's a massive deacceleration or even reverse, so like for everyone, it feels like it's a massive change, massive shift for a brand to come out and be this brave.
Well, a bunch of new ads came out, right? I think people. Okay, as someone who would align themselves with classic Madison Avenue advertising, I would say that like we have always been very good at understanding and determining the trends, and the trends have shifted, and marketers are taking advantage of that, because a lot of other campaigns that came out recently too that are going in a similar direction. So regardless of like what I think or what I like personally, I think Madison Avenue are always really good at identifying where the puck is going. And right now,
it's
Sydney Sweeney.
Completely agree. Yeah,
that's my take.
Love it. I think that's what we're good.
All right, we're at time. All right, dude, that was fun.
Right, let's end it here.